Podcast, presentado por 5.11.
PS360, una vez más desde CIPE 2025, y tenemos con nosotros a una gran invitada que se llama Megan Brown, quien nos dio una gran conferencia. Megan, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to have you here in Mexico. It's a pleasure to have you here in CIPE.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks a lot. And how was your experience about your teaching in CIPE?
It was wonderful. I really enjoyed the opportunity to get to talk about neuroscience and how it applies to the work that protectors do. It was different for me because I usually work with the military, but protectors and guardians are made of the same build, right? Like the occupation may be different, but the spirit's the same.
And the forces of security is a very, very tough work. Mm-hmm. So how is neuroscience working with this work about your knowledge?
So what we've discovered over the past probably decade or so really is that military, law enforcement, protectors, people who are doing security in whatever form that may look like, really do need to regulate their nervous system. It really helps with clear decision making and optimum performance. And what I work in is a field called the human weapons system, where we optimize human performance. And neuroscience is the key. If the brain isn't functioning properly, the body's not functioning properly, and then we can't do our jobs.
And what are the biggest challenges when coordinating multinational medical efforts in high-pressure situations?
I think communication, right? Communication is always the toughest challenge. Mm-hmm. Human bodies are the human bodies. So when we coordinate medical responses, human bodies are treated the same no matter where anybody comes from. But the tactical systems we use to get care or get a patient help are all different. And our communication systems are different. I think if we fix communication, then we'll fix the systems, because treating patients is always the same.
Okay. How was medical crisis preparedness evolved in military and organizations you've worked with over the years?
Oh, what a great question. I think the most evolving that we've had, and I've worked with NATO or OTAN, and I've also worked with the Japanese, Australian, and Korean governments, is coordinating, right? So making sure we're using the same system, same healthcare systems. Simple things like a litter size, right? If the litter size is different in different countries, it won't fit into vehicles properly, right? And I think one of the biggest steps forward we've seen recently is sharing of blood agreements, right? Being able to exchange blood, because that's what saves lives, and the coordination there has really stepped up in the last few years. Medical coordination is not as hard as others because everybody wants to save lives and work together. But getting our systems and our equipment on the same page is the biggest challenge. It always comes back to money, right? Like getting the equipment to be the same.
Okay. Talking about NATO, OTAN, what key lessons have you learned from collaborating with NATO forces and allied armies in the Pacific?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think the key point really is communication ahead of time. When we wait for a crisis to happen, chaos ensues, right? We have to be planning ahead. And so it's really important to talk about things that could maybe happen, from tsunamis to other disasters, and be planned in advance so that we're on the same page when things happen. So even though it's inconvenient to talk about things when you're busy and the world has got many things going on, planning ahead is important.
Can you share an example without sensitive details where medical planning made a critical difference in an operation?
In an operation? Yeah. We worked really hard when I was in Hawaii to work with the state of Hawaii, right? And we had the Maui fires. And it was really important that we had pre-coordinated, the Army and the civilian government, to make sure that we were able to help people and minimize lives lost. And I think our work and our, every year we would work with the state government of Hawaii to make sure that we were ready, paid off in that instance. So that's a really good example of like where you coordinate, even within my own country, right? Of coordinating with the local government to make sure that we're ready.
Thanks a lot. In executive protection and security context, what role does holistic health and medical readiness play for protection teams?
It plays a big role because it is preventive health, right? Protectors can't help protect if they're mentally ill, if they have an injury, right? They can't do their jobs. So when we look at holistic health, we're looking at the whole person and making sure they're ready to be at peak performance. And that's where the human weapon system and whole health come into play. So if someone's mentally prepared and they've done the work ahead of time versus after a disaster, right, then they will handle the situation much better and they'll handle it better for years to come. So we want people at peak human performance before a situation occurs. And holistic health is the key to that.
And with holistic health, is it possible to handle the post-traumatic stress?
Yes. So holistic health helps before and after in two different ways. Before, we can learn coping skills, right, that help prevent things like post-traumatic stress. Learning how to cycle through in your mind scenarios and situations that will happen that will not only help respond to the situation in real time better, but then deal with the aftermaths afterwards. And then on the other flip side of that, if they already have PTSD, holistic health helps people deal with the issues, right, from their body to their mind in a more healthy and effective way. I like to say that, holistic health, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, any of these things that you look at, modalities, they don't take away the burden that protectors carry, but they help you carry it better.
Okay.
Right? That's my favorite analogy. You're still gonna have a burden, but how do you carry that burden? And holistic health gives you the tools to carry the burden effectively.
Exactly. It's the first year that I see that there's a humanistic view for security and protectors. And I think that your speech yesterday was great because I hadn't heard before about it.
Thank you so much. I actually had several people come up to me afterwards and say the same thing. And it's a culture change, right? And the culture's changing from my work with the United States military to being here today in Mexico City with you guys, is we're really trying to change the culture of you have to be tough, you just have to stuff it down and just deal with it, right? And we know time after time and after time again that when we take warriors, when we take protectors and we tell them to stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down, that it leads to alcoholism, that it leads to drug use, that it leads to domestic violence, that it leads to driving while intoxicated, all of these poor behaviors. When we stuff it down, on the outside it looks like we're tough, but on the inside, we're still dealing with problems. And then we don't deal with those problems healthily. And then we're not at peak performance, right? If you're going home and drinking heavily at night, you're not showing up ready to do your job. Yeah. So in order to make the human weapon system the most effective, we have to carry the burden better so that we don't have poor off-duty behaviors and we really show up as a human. And then not only, Josaphat gave a beautiful speech and Alberto talking about that the warrior does what they do because they love what's behind them, right?
Exactly.
Like, not because of what's in front of them, they love what's behind them. But if I'm coming home at night and I'm drinking myself to sleep because I can't sleep, I'm not giving my family the thing that I love, my love and attention. And how can a warrior do what they're meant to do if they're not showing up and if they're not, performing at their peak best, not only at work, but in their home life as well? And integrative healthcare helps us get there.
It's just like give the complete purpose of life of the server, right? In home, with ourselves, and then in the job.
In the job and outside of the job. And you can still be tough, right? We're not taking away toughness. We're not talking about rainbows and kittens and hugs, right? We're talking about mental preparedness.
Exactly.
Mental and physical preparedness.
Thanks a lot. So, What recommendations would you give to Mexican professionals and leaders aiming to improve their medical and crisis management in security?
My best advice is to do self-inventory, to take care of yourself. Do a body scan every day. When you wake up in the morning, get out of bed, put your feet on the floor, and think about your body. How do I feel today emotionally? But how do I feel today physically? And what can I work on today to make myself perform better? If you do a little self-inventory every day, you will find ways to make yourself better. And that may mean going to the doctor and talking about the knee that's been bothering you for 10 years. But it also may mean, I woke up today and I feel irritated. Why do I feel irritated? I just woke up and started my day. There's a reason I feel irritated today. Let me work on that so I don't go into my day irritated and now I'm distracted when an enemy approaches, right? So that daily self-inventory, I think, is a key first step.
Thanks a lot. It has been a pleasure to have you here in Mexico, to have you here in CIPE. And I think that you started with a seed for a real game changer knowledge.
I appreciate that so much. It has been my honor and pleasure to be here. I've had the best time. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.